啊，位置老花。
Between May 18th and May 19th, 2026, Guizhou province in southwest China experienced a significant flooding event triggered by prolonged and locally intense rainfall. The most affected area was Guiding County and nearby mountainous districts, where continuous precipitation over a short period led to flash floods, river overflow, and multiple landslides. The event occurred during a broader spell of unstable early summer weather across southern China, as seasonal monsoon-related moisture combined with warm air flows to produce widespread heavy rainfall across several provinces. While surrounding regions such as Hunan, Guangxi, and parts of Guangdong also reported flooding impacts, Guizhou faced particularly severe, localized consequences due to its steep terrain and dense river network. In Guiding County, rainfall intensity increased sharply on May 18th and continued into the following day, causing small rivers and drainage channels to rise rapidly beyond safe levels. The speed of water accumulation left limited time for mitigation in some rural settlements. Low-lying villages and agricultural areas were among the first to be affected as floodwaters entered residential zones, damaging homes, farmland, and local infrastructure. Roads connecting smaller communities were quickly impacted, with sections submerged or cut off due to water flow and debris accumulation. The combination of heavy runoff and unstable slopes also triggered landslides in several locations, which further obstructed transportation routes and complicated emergency access. Local authorities reported that the disaster led to casualties and missing persons during the initial phase of the event. At least 4 deaths were confirmed in the affected areas, while several individuals were reported missing as rescue operations began. Emergency response teams were deployed immediately, including firefighters, medical personnel, and disaster relief units from both local and provincial agencies. Search and rescue operations focused on locating missing residents, evacuating people from high-risk zones, and providing emergency medical assistance to those affected by flooding or related accidents. Evacuation efforts were carried out on a significant scale in vulnerable areas of Guiding County. Thousands of residents were temporarily relocated to safer locations such as schools, community centers, and designated emergency shelters. Initial assessments suggested that more than 3,000 people were affected either directly through evacuation or indirectly through property damage and infrastructure disruption. Relief operations prioritized the safety of residents in landslide-prone zones, where continued rainfall posed a high risk of secondary disasters. Infrastructure damage was concentrated mainly in rural transport and communication systems. Several roads were blocked by landslides or rendered impassable due to flooding, isolating some communities and delaying the delivery of aid.
出才出去嘛，去那边炮竹上修，到处想火啊！你人嘛，你那个，这里各种改善啊，你看各种改善，全挑火啊！
Bridges and smaller connecting routes were also affected in certain areas, requiring the use of heavy machinery for debris removal and emergency repairs. In addition, some local power and communication networks experienced temporary interruptions, either due to physical damage or precautionary shutdowns during hazardous conditions. Restoration teams worked to re-establish connectivity and ensure that emergency services could operate effectively in all impacted zones. The government response included rapid coordination between local authorities and national disaster management agencies. Emergency funding was allocated to support immediate relief efforts, including food distribution, temporary shelter arrangements, medical supplies, and basic living necessities for displaced residents. Engineering and geological teams were also dispatched to assess slope stability, reinforce river embankments, and monitor high-risk areas for potential further landslides. Meteorological departments issued continuous weather updates and warnings during the event, advising residents in mountainous regions to remain alert due to the possibility of additional rainfall and unstable ground conditions. The flooding in Guizhou occurred within a wider pattern of heavy rainfall activity across southern China in mid-May 2026. Multiple provinces experienced periods of intense precipitation influenced by seasonal atmospheric circulation patterns. However, Guizhou's mountainous geography significantly amplified the impact of rainfall, as steep slopes and narrow valleys tend to accelerate surface runoff and increase the likelihood of flash flooding. This geographical vulnerability has historically made the province susceptible to rapid onset hydrological disasters during strong rainfall events. By May 19th, rainfall intensity began to decrease in parts of Guizhou County, allowing emergency operations to expand beyond immediate rescue into early recovery activities. Search efforts continued for missing individuals, while teams worked simultaneously to clear roads and restore essential services. Despite the partial improvement in weather conditions, authorities maintained caution due to the continued risk of delayed landslides and unstable soil in saturated areas. Monitoring systems remained active to track river levels and slope movement in order to prevent secondary incidents.
我叫你1楼，马上干完了，哎。
绿色不要慌，得换新车了哈。来向生活比个耶。
Overall, the May 18th to 19th, 2026 flooding event in Guizhou province highlighted the persistent vulnerability of mountainous regions in southwest China to short-duration but high-intensity rainfall events. While emergency response systems were activated quickly and large-scale evacuations helped reduce further casualties, The disaster demonstrated the challenges of managing flash flood risks in areas with complex terrain, dispersed rural settlements, and limited transportation access. Recovery efforts are expected to continue in the affected regions as infrastructure repairs, housing restoration, and long-term risk mitigation planning are gradually implemented. Thanks for watching Severe Weather, where we break down the facts behind nature's most intense moments. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps this channel going. Hit the bell so you never miss a real, calm, and clear report. See you in the next one. Stay informed, stay safe.